just under 12,000 doses of Pfizer this morning, which is a significant amount.
Tracking the vaccine, an exclusive look at the rollout process from doses arriving in Connecticut to getting it in your arm.
Winter in New England means snow and ice and also potholes, the reason pavement problems pop up year after year. And an alarming number of schools without nurses, how New Haven is covering the gap and making sure your kids are safe. First up right now, more and more Americans are getting that vaccine, and they're very happy about it. But behind the scenes and during each shot is a process that requires precision, timing, and a whole lot more. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Patricia Del Rio gives us an exclusive behind-the-scenes look tracking the journey of a vaccine in Connecticut from distribution right into a person's arm.
It is a happy day for Carol Mulready getting the COVID vaccine. But have you ever considered all that goes into getting that shot in the arm? We're going to hit the rewind button, literally, and take you on the odyssey of the Pfizer vaccine that you just saw go into this 77-year-old grandmother's arm.
It begins at the Pfizer facility in the Midwest. Thousands of vaccines loaded onto trucks, then to planes, and in this case, arriving early morning via Federal Express to Hartford Hospital. The doors open, and in it, small white boxes. Each of these 3 boxes containing about 4,000 or 5,000 doses of COVID vaccine. Precious cargo is signed for, and then an elbow bump between shipping employee and the pharmacy director.
We received just under 12,000 doses of Pfizer this morning, which is a significant amount.
Spencer Martin is Director of Pharmacy Services at Hartford Hospital. Dr. Martin documents the journey of the vaccine through the hospital for us on his iPhone. First, the boxes are wheeled to a secret location in the hospital where they will be stored. Notice the thermal gloves on top. They'll be needed to deal with these ultra-cold vaccines.
The rule of thumb is to keep it as close to negative 80 degrees Celsius, which is about 112 degrees negative Fahrenheit.
Next, the boxes are open. Notice what looks like a TV remote there? It's actually a temperature monitor that makes sure the vaccine stays at those sub-zero temps. He presses it to turn it off, and it transmits via GPS to the people monitoring it that the doses are good and it's ready for the next step. First, a top layer of dry ice is removed and set aside. Next, more ice is brushed away and the inner box is removed. Then stacks of small boxes which contain the vials of vaccine are taken out.
And we have just a couple minutes before we can get it into the freezer.
When it's time to remove the individual vials of vaccine to take to a vaccination clinic in a different part of the hospital, they are removed from their box and taken out using tongs because they're so cold. They are frozen rock solid.
Looks like snow inside of a vial.
Next, they're put in a special container that goes into a green bag.
The reason for that is the vaccine is light protected. We don't want it exposed to natural or even artificial light.
They're now hand-carried to the clinic being done in the hospital. It's about a 2-minute walk. They are put in a refrigerator where they can stay for a maximum of 5 days.
When it's time to actually make a dose, we pull the vial out of the refrigerator.
They only take out what they need, and they will sit on a counter for about 30 minutes to come to room temperature.
A pharmacist inverts each defrosted Pfizer vial exactly 10 times. The other larger vial on the counter is normal saline. The pharmacist then takes off the tops of both the saline and vaccine vials and cleans off each with alcohol swabs. The pharmacist then sticks a needle into the normal saline vial and draws up what is needed. The pharmacist then takes that saline and inserts it into the Pfizer vial. Finally, he inverts the Pfizer vial 10 more times to ensure complete reconstitution.
It is then handed to a nurse. The nurse wipes it again with alcohol and fills the needle. Again, she'll be able to fill about 5 or 6 needles.
The vaccine is now ready for Carol. If you're wondering how much fluid goes into an arm, I'm using an eyedropper filled with water. It's 0.3 milliliters, which is the equivalent of 1, 2, 3 drops.
Which leads us back to Carol. The vaccine we saw prepared going into her arm.
But I feel good. And this is nice. Accomplishment.
An accomplishment Dr. Martin is proud of.
I would describe the whole experience as profound in terms of the logistics that are going into this. I think it's extraordinary that we have a vaccine in hand and able to deliver to patients only 10 months after this pandemic really started.
An extraordinary push forward toward herd immunity. In Hartford, Patricia Del Rio, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Patricia, that is absolutely fascinating to see that as it all plays out. So many people involved.